This is GNOME Mobile 48 on postmarketOS 25.06 running on a OnePlus6t. This video will provide a full progress update as to where postmarketOS is on this device, including updates to the interface, settings, apps, and functions like the camera and calling. So to provide a full overview, I've inserted a SIM card into the device and now it needs to be rebooted so that it's detected and we can test all the functions. Now that we've booted postmarketOS, we can log in with the default user and the password is 147147. Here is the home screen of GNOME 48. Swiping down from the top, we can see the quick settings. Our mobile network is connected, so the SIM card is detected, and our battery level is currently at 87%. There's a quick dark style setting, which will turn to dark mode, which we'll look at later. Also, auto rotate is available, so shifting the device to landscape mode, we can see it moves nicely. I do notice there have been a few performance updates to the interface, and it does seem to respond a little more smoothly. We also have a screenshot feature, which is working. And the image viewer is updated in GNOME 48. We can also access the system settings from the quick settings using that gear icon. So Wi-Fi is fully functional and connected. And I'll just scroll through all the settings here and comment a little bit. For mobile data, you do have to switch it on manually as I have shown here, and select the correct access point. Here I will pair some Bluetooth earbuds and show that they are functional. So now that they're connected, we can test the sounds later. But connecting and disconnecting, you can see that the volume level shows differently. For the display settings, the night light is not working, whereas it did work on Plasma Mobile. Here you can also change the scale. And now looking at the sound features, we can test the sound which is coming out of the speakers. Again, if we connect our Bluetooth earbuds, we can select the headset there and show that yes, the sound is working through the earbuds. There are a few power settings. And to show the battery percentage, you have to switch it on, which isn't on by default. Auto screen brightness works, but I'm using max brightness just for the video. So again, dark style. Here we'll change all of the system to dark mode. There is a multitasking setting, but I think this works more for the desktop than mobile. I haven't figured out a way to use this yet. In appearance, you can also change the theme to dark style or change certain colors or background images. The apps gives you a full list of the installed apps, the defaults, notification settings. In GNOME 48, there's improved notification stacking according to the updates. A new feature in the settings is Wellbeing. I really like these additions as it allows you to limit screen time, and it also can give you eyesight reminders and break reminders. There are accessibility functions. Screen Reader did not seem to produce any sound. However, the other visual settings do seem to be working. For hearing accessibility, there's a flash screen upon notifications, and that's working. That's a quick overview of the settings. You can see it's quite rich. And now let's look at some of the apps. Audio Player is a new app, and it's used to play audio files, but it can only play certain audio formats. We also have a default address book. And we can enter people into the address book like so. There aren't too many updates to the default apps, so I'll scroll through them quickly, showing a bit of the functionality. A subtle update is when opening new apps, they will go to the front of the queue instead of a different order. Apparently that's a new update in GNOME 48. Something else that I noticed while making this video is some of the default apps seem to have disappeared from the home screen. Those are going to come back later when I reboot. I don't know why that's the case, but it seems to be a bit of a bug at the moment. However, it does look like all of the default apps are quite functional. Now for calling, I was able to make a phone call, and the voice did seem to go through on both sides. However, the loudspeaker was not functional, though the in-call volume did work. In the calls, only sound came through the default earpiece of the phone. So like I said, the loudspeaker function wasn't working, and connecting Bluetooth audio didn't seem to allow sound to come through the earbuds. So even selecting the earbuds from the sound settings, it did not connect to the call as expected. Here's an example of an incoming call, which also seemed to function similarly to outgoing calls. The call quality is still not quite where I'd have it at a daily functional level, but it does work. Chats is used for SMS. The outgoing and incoming SMS work as expected. Here we can see the notifications in the drop-down menu. And now here's another look at some of the default apps. It looks like there's another audio player as well as an image viewer. What's interesting in the File Explorer is that you have to double-click on folders to open them. This works much like a desktop, but quite different from the defaults in a mobile system. There have been improvements to the camera, so it does access the camera now, front and back. However, the zoom is a little bit off by default. I don't know if that can be fixed or tweaked. The front-facing camera, as you can see, has some issues as well, but there is progress towards functionality. Taking photos and recording video both work. But at the time of this video, due to the zoom issue, I'm not sure that this camera is functional for daily use. Here's another look at the terminal, or the console app. Again, postmarketOS is running Alpine Linux, which is a BusyBox Linux. So it does have the default commands for Alpine Linux. You can do sudo apk add to add applications that are available, but some of them might not be available as you are used to on GNU/Linux systems. Or you might have to enable other repositories to get these apps. You can install the available apps, however, we will see later that these apps still don't show up in the home screen after they've been installed via the console or terminal. Pages is a document viewer, and there is a video player, which we can see here does play the videos that we've recorded, and the sound works as well. There is a Tweaks app installed by default, which allows you to tweak a few things and make some changes as necessary. So we can search for apps. Here we have the software center where you can update the system or apps installed. As I mentioned, for some reason this app is not showing in the home screen, but you can still search for it and get there through the search function. This is another one of the default apps installed, Firefox ESR, which is a mobile derivative of Firefox. What's interesting is it comes with uBlock Origin already installed, so that helps to block ads. Here we can demonstrate the Wi-Fi functionality and the sound output. So now if we disconnect from Wi-Fi, I will test the mobile data functionality, which we had to switch on manually, as we remember. So here it's working quite smoothly, transitioning from Wi-Fi. And sound is coming out of the browser. So if we switch back on the Wi-Fi, it connects automatically to the Wi-Fi network. The search bar also allows you to do basic mathematical calculations. So from software, we can, of course, install other apps. Here I'm installing a sound recorder to test the microphone. So voice recording does work. However, testing these audio players, I was not able to open the recorded file. Some of the file formats may not be available for playing back in these applications. So we can see it records in WMV. It may be able to record in other file formats, but by default, this recording format does not work in the audio player. Apps installed through software do show up in the home screen as expected. Another notable thing in this latest update is a mobile-friendly version of Thunderbird. Here I'll install it from software, but I do not get into the functionality of the app itself. But we'll have a quick look and see how it's formatted for the mobile screen. So it looks like it's still a work in progress, but I imagine it can be functional. Multiple language input is also supported, but I think it depends on the keyboard. So some languages have keyboards that are hard-coded to the keys, which are functional, whereas some languages that have phonetic input, like Japanese, didn't seem to work. And here's an example of a crash. So the system just crashed there after I tried to view a keyboard. There are a few little crashes here and there. But once the system reboots, it's functional again. Here you can see it is rebooted, and now all these default apps have shown up again on the home screen. So there are a few little quirks, but for many functions it can be used. I'm not sure it's quite at a daily driver level yet, but it is making good progress. So we can switch keyboards here again and show some different language input. And scroll through a few more of the default apps, which seem to be fully functional. So this was a quick update to where GNOME Mobile on postmarketOS is for the OnePlus 6t. As you can see, functions have been updated, and progress is moving forward. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Again, thanks again for watching, and if this helped you, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.